This presentation is on reproduction. There are two main types, asexual and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is the production of offspring without fertilization. The DNA all come from a single parent, therefore, the offspring are identical to each other and their parent. There are several types of asexual reproduction. Binary fission is when prokaryotes divide to form two genetically identical cells. In fission, the DNA is copied. The cell then grows longer, pulling the two copies apart. The cell membrane pinches, and the cell splits to form two new daughter cells. Both bacteria and amoebas produce through binary fission. Your first keyword is in. Budding is another type of asexual reproduction, where a new organism grows by mitosis and cell division on the same body of its parent. The bud or offspring is identical to the parent. When the bud is large enough, it can break off of the parents and live on its own. Offspring can remain attached to form a rhizoid. Examples are yeast, plants like the mother of 1,000 or spider plants, and the hydra. Sexual reproduction requires two parents, a male and a female. Because sexual reproduction requires two parents, cells called gametes combine to produce offspring. Female gametes are called eggs, and male gametes are called sperm. Fertilization is the process where an egg and sperm cell join together to form a new cell called a zygote. This process is completed by most animals and many plants. Body cells are considered somatic cells, and sex cells are called gametes. The sperm are located in the testes of a male, and eggs are found in the ovaries of females. Gametes have DNA that can be passed to offspring. Your second keyword is meiosis. Your body cells have 23 pairs of chromosomes, which means there are 46 individual chromosomes. On the side, you can see a karyotype, which you will learn more about in a later level on genetics. In the karyotype, you can see the 23 pairs. Chromosome pairs 1 through 22 are autosomes, and the 23rd chromosome pair makes up the sex chromosomes. Chromosomes X and Y determine sex in mammals. Fertilization is the process where an egg and sperm come together in sexual reproduction. It is important to understand the difference between diploid and haploid cells. Diploid cells have 2 of every chromosome, half from males and half from females. All body cells are diploid. You may also see diploid written as 2N. Haploid cells have just 1 of every chromosome. Gametes have 22 autosomes and 1 sex chromosome. Haploid is also written as just N. Mitosis and meiosis are types of nuclear division that make different types of cells. Mitosis makes more diploid cells. In meiosis, cells go through 2 rounds of division. Meiosis reduces the chromosome number and creates haploid cells. Meiosis I and meiosis II each have 4 phases, just like those in mitosis. Pairs of homologous chromosomes separate in meiosis I, while sister chromatids divide in meiosis II. It's important to know that homologous chromosomes are similar but not identical, and sister chromatids are copies of the same chromosome. Your third keyword is cells. This GIF shows how mitosis and meiosis differ from each other. Meiosis leaves cells with identical daughter cells, while meiosis creates genetically unique daughter cells with only 23 chromosomes instead of 46. Meiosis I occurs after DNA has been replicated. Meiosis I divides homologous chromosomes in 4 phases. You're going to fill in the phases as we go through them together. First, the nuclear membrane disappears. Spindle fibers appear and the centrioles appear to opposite sides of the cell. Chromatin condenses into chromosomes and homologous chromosomes begin to pair up. Spindle fibers in metaphase I align the homologous chromosomes along the cell equator. Each side has chromosomes from both parents. Your fourth keyword is divide. In anaphase I, Paired homologous chromosomes separate from each other and move towards opposite sides of the cell. Sister chromatids still remain attached. In telophase 1, the spindle fibers disappear. The cell then undergoes cytokinesis, so we now have two different cells. These cells are considered haploid because they've already lost one half of their chromosome set. Between telophase 1 and prophase 2, there is no interphase. In meiosis II, sister chromatids divide again in 4 phases. The DNA is not replicated between meiosis I and meiosis II. In prophase 2, the spindle fibers appear. Centrioles are going to move to opposite sides of the cell. In metaphase 2, spindle fibers align the sister chromatids along the cell equator. In anaphase 2, the sister chromatids separate from each other and move towards opposite sides of the cell. Finally, in telophase 2, our nuclear membranes reappear in each of the 4 new cells, the spindle fibers disappear, and the cells all go under cytokinesis. So we are left with 4 genetically different haploid daughter cells. Your 5th keyword is twice. Gametogenesis is the production of gametes, and it differs between males and females. The sperm coming from males primarily contribute DNA to an embryo. During meiosis IV, viable sperm cells are produced. The egg contributes DNA in addition to cytoplasm and organelles to an embryo. During meiosis, only one viable egg is produced, and the other 3 cells form polar bodies. Here you can see the 4 viable sperm cells and the single egg cell that's left over with 3 polar bodies. From spermatogenesis, we get our sperm cells, and in oogenesis, we get our egg cells. This concludes our notes on asexual and sexual reproduction. Make sure you fill in the keyword sentence, and then submit your video and move on to the next assignment.